topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Camping Show. I'm C.W. Getz.
Hey, I'm Bianca Cahill.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. We have a beautiful, and I do mean beautiful, 82-degree sunny day here and calm.
Yes.
There's no wind. There's nothing in the blow zone today, Bianca.
No, there are a few clouds here and there, but it wasn't bad. I got some sun. So
every time you've been to my place, it's been like hurricane conditions.
It's
and,
very dark and eerie. The clouds are very low hanging.
We were planning on you coming today, but the scheduling didn't allow it. But you would have experienced your first calm day in the blow zone. I'm so excited for you to see that. But yeah, it's funny. There's a little heart down by the 82-degree Fahrenheit sunny thing on my computer. Is that you have that, or is it just mine?
It's got to be yours. Mine's a dinosaur, though.
It loves the temperature as much as I do, apparently. So yeah, I'm liking that. But anyway, hey, did you have a good day today? Everything good?
I did. It was lovely.
All right. Well, awesome. Lovely day, lovely weather. So you can't beat that. Well, tonight's episode of the Camping Show is brought to you by Campground Views, making camping easier.
And Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
Tonight's episode is Female Adventurous Extraordinaire with our special guest, Allison Surf. Could you tell us a little bit about Allison, please?
40-year-old Arkansas adventure enthusiast, traveler, and photographer Allison Surf also holds a bachelor's degree in wildlife and field biology. Born and raised in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, Allison, then 20 years old, moved with her family to Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was there that Allison was afforded the opportunity to explore, hike, fish, kayak, and truly learn about the outdoors. During her time as a student, Allison's scientific research on the American alligator and Arkadelphia, Kansas.
Thank you. I wouldn't have done
nickname Gator Girl. Allison earned the outstanding, that one took me for a spin for a second. I wasn't expecting that. Allison earned the Outstanding Research Student Award in college and has been scientifically published for her studies on the North American river otter, American alligator, and the Wichita Map turtle. Allison has a prestigious opportunity to present her research at both the Arkansas Game and Fish Region meeting, as well as the Arkansas Academy of Science. She worked for a private collection of reptiles, caring for and breeding snakes, including gaboon viper, puff adder, timber rattlesnakes, as well as non-venomous species snakes. Traveling to places like Peru, Belize, Ecuador, Brazil, Colombia, Panama, and the Galapagos Islands to study biology and ecology has provided Allison many unique experiences. For instance, staying with indigenous Indian tribes, snorkeling with reef sharks, being stranded on an island in a hurricane, and hitchhiking boat rides through the Amazon River. Allison and adventure partner Amy recently returned from the rainforest of Peru, Brazil, and Colombia to study the Amazon basin emerald tree boas in the wild. In February, Allison and Amy will travel to the Quarantine River to explore. We'll find out. Explore the virgin jungles of Suriname.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
We'll have to ask her about these because,
Allison, help me out.
I just type this stuff. I don't read it. I'm sorry. Where's she at? Here's our guest, Allison. She there? There
Hi.
we go. Welcome to the show, Allison.
Thanks for having me. How are you guys?
Very good. How about yourself?
We're good.
Doing well. Thank you.
Hey, we got to ask you about some things. Go ahead with the first one, Bianca.
Is it pronounced Quarantine River?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then the jungles are called Suriname.
So Suriname is actually a place in Brazil that has a lot of prestigious rainforests. So,
okay.
I was looking at this is it Galapagos?
Galapagos, right?
That's what I said.
Galapagos.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Galapagos. Yeah, right. I would have not gotten that one. So I apologize. I'm glad you read these, Bianca, instead of me. So
You could probably tell we don't get out much, at least not to Brazil.
or the Galapagos
Well,
Islands.
Suriname
Or
is
whatever.
Right.
It's actually its own country, but it's kind of within the Brazil area.
Okay. Cool.
Far cry from Chicago, though, right?
I've
Yes,
been close
very
to
different.
Venezuela, but nothing that far.
You've been to those
Right.
islands?
No,
Pardon?
Oh,
no, I've not. I've been close to Venezuela, not
okay.
actually in Venezuela, but close
Very
to
cool.
the island right above it. And that would be Aruba.
I went to
Nice.
Brazil. That's all I know.
Did
all
you
I know.
enjoy it?
Bad.
I did. We spent the first three nights and 2 days in a hostel, which is interesting. I've never stayed in a hostel before.
Very
in fact,
nice.
yeah, it was interesting. But then we ended up in a beach house. That was nicer. That was much gooder. I like that.
Can't go wrong with
You're like-
that.
You're like a country king. You're just your country royalty, pretty much. Like you can't handle things like that. Would you be able to do something like that, CW, in Europe?
You mean
Like just hostel it out and just go across Europe and go to all these different hostels and
it wouldn't be my first choice, but I suppose I could get used to about anything. If I can get used to sleeping on the bare ground and then get rained on and then dig a cat hole and do some business in that. Yeah, I guess I could probably get used to that. I mean, that's just, it depends. I mean, like Europe is really cool. So I go, okay, we can't have it all. So I guess if I want to go to Europe and those are the conditions, I suppose I would just have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I would just like to do that at least just for the experience, at least once in like every different place.
Yeah.
Go and just experience just one night of just going out and sleeping in a hostel.
I have a friend, Ramesa, who actually just got done messaging with her on like WhatsApp. She's going all over Europe and she's like Germany and Paris and Paris, France, everywhere. I mean, lots of places. And I'm thinking there's a day or two in each place. Allison, you've done that. I think that's so cool.
Well, with the trains, you can get to places really quickly. So, I mean, it could be easy to do. So, like a train ride from here to there sometimes is like what, an hour, would you say, Allison, from different countries? So it's nice. So you can do some hopping around like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Mustang 774 digs your hammock. I love it.
I love everything about it. The whole entire setting. Like, are there animals in the? Okay.
There are. So this is Amy's beautiful jungle enclosure where she keeps all of her emerald basin tree boas. And so we are lucky to hang out in here today, kind of hang out with the snakes. And she has actually 7 of them. So
wow. I've seen you with snakes. It's very impressive. And you had one around your camera that last time
Yes, and I was actually here, and we have Isis, the girl that was on that camera right behind me. Amy is actually going to go get her out real quick just to show you all because she is actually stunning.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know if you can see her, but she's back there. Come here, Isis.
Keep talking.
Yeah. So. Yes, she is an emerald green tree boa. She's absolutely stunning. Wow. She's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. I know I would just love her in the flesh in person.
These are cool. Yeah. Extremely cool.
Oh my goodness. It's awesome.
And this is the actual species of snakes that we went looking for while we were in Peru, Colombia, and Brazil. So we were looking for these guys in the wild. They're very difficult to find.
Okay. And so what do you do when you find them?
So what she specifically is doing is she's collecting some data and knowledge on them in the wild in hopes to write a book and just get more idea of what these guys are like in the wild, where you can find them, breeding, temperaments, just all sorts of locations, just all sorts of information. Here she comes. Hi, Isis.
Oh, wow.
Hello, pretty girl.
She's going to just slither around you.
Yeah, they're very, very, very cool snakes.
We'll just let her slither around while you guys talk.
I don't know if you could see her slithering behind me.
I can. It's awesome. I'm just in awe right now. And you're just hanging out in the hammock.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she's got quite a few of these babies. They're absolutely stunning.
Oh my goodness. At what age did you become aware that you had a passion for nature?
So I honestly kind of joke around and say I was born like this because I have pictures of me when I was like a toddler, like holding rabbits and just all sorts of animals. And I don't know. I just always have connected with the animals and the wildlife. And even though I didn't grow up in the country or around a whole lot of it, I remember being in 4th grade and just going to the library and any book I could get my hands on that had animals in it. That's what I read, those zoo books. So I kind of joke around and say it's just in my DNA. I don't know. It's just in my blood. But as I've become an adult, I've just taken it to another level.
And so tell me about a little bit about those levels and what really, you have the love for animals, but how did you kind of just kickstart your career and kickstart this and make this basically your lifestyle?
So I moved to Arkansas, and of course it was just like a whole new world. We had forests and lakes and mountains and trees and just things that I read about and always, dreamt about, but actually it was here in the flesh. So it kind of opened my eyes to like, now's my chance to actually get out there and do it for real. And I decided that I wanted to go to school to be a veterinarian at first. And so I enrolled as a non-traditional student at Henderson State University and in their biology degree. And kind of just went from there. I met a professor there that was extremely influential to me. He was my ecology, herpetology, and mammalogy teacher. And from there, anything I could get my hands on, anything I could read, anything I could work directly in the lab with, I did just to gain the experience. And it's just kind of grown from there.
Let me ask you this: how do people respond to your, the extraordinary lifestyle that you lead, and your vast knowledge of nature and wildlife?
Well, I get mixed responses. So I get "you're crazy," right?
Oh, wow, really?
Because
oh, wow.
I'm out there with snakes and alligators and things like that. And then I get a handful of people that are actually really curious about it and want to know about it and aren't necessarily fearful of it, but more curious. So it ranges from everything to "that's awesome" to "you're crazy."
What do you do when they say you're crazy? What is your response to that? I'm just curious.
Typically, honestly, I agree with them just a little bit.
I love it. Well, you know what? That's good though, right? Especially for
yeah, exactly. So I just really just try to explain that, it's really about education, and I've learned a lot, and it's not so scary once you are educated on it,
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Allison, I know that your day-to-day duties might be different from day to day. So what are some things that you do normally in your work that you would enjoy doing right now?
What do you mean by that?
Like, what is the one thing about your work right now that you enjoy doing?
Oh, I just love that it's different every day. So there's always something new that I'm trying to learn about. And really it's about learning, because I think with nature, ecology, and biology, you could study your entire lifetime and really not know it all. So it's always different. It's always trying to gain more knowledge. And I always I'm not ever going to know it enough. So it keeps that drive. Like, I just want to know more. So I just really like that it's always different, never kind of have a set plan, just kind of go with the flow, learn things, get myself into things. In fact, I was hiking the other day on Lake Washita and came across an injured vulture. So it's just like crazy stuff like that. Like, you just never know what you can come across.
Are you confident enough to be able to tend to a situation like that when they arise?
Absolutely, absolutely. So this vulture in particular was hung by his beak by a old fishing line and hook.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I just went up there and I gently wrapped him up in a towel, fished the hook out of his beak and made sure he was okay. I also was a vet tech for 8 years for a local veterinarian that worked on dogs, cats, livestock. Yeah. So I have a little bit of animal, medical knowledge as far as that goes. So yeah, feel very confident in pretty much anything I come across.
That's great. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back in just a little bit with more on Allison Surf. Don't go away on more of the camping show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV. Be right back.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutubaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on the camping show.
We're back with our guest, Allison Surf, here on the camping show. Allison, at what point did you begin documenting your adventures via photographs?
I always loved, I'm an artist too, so I draw and I paint. So I'm a very visual person, and I've always loved photography. I just never really had the equipment or to kind of play around with it. And so just about 3 years ago, I got my first camera. It was just an easy little starter camera. This is Zolty. This is another one. So I got my first starter camera and I fell in love. And I just tried. I just would go outside and take every opportunity I could to practice and learn. And I would study. I'd watch YouTube videos. And then I upgraded my camera. So really hasn't been until the last couple of years that I actually really tried to use the documentation and photographs.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I've seen your photos look amazing. So it looks like you've been doing that for years, honestly.
No, just a few years.
Yeah, wonderful photographs.
And you have such an advantage, I feel like, because you're obviously so good with animals, and you have been, and you've been since you were a little girl. So to just have that edge while you're out there shooting wildlife is, I think, that much cooler.
Yeah.
The biology degree has definitely come in handy with that because, you learn environments, you learn details of the outdoors that help you to indicate, possible animal crossings or where wildlife might be more, prevalent. So yes, most definitely my degree has helped in that area.
Very cool. Very cool.
Tell us more about your childhood. You talked about your love for animals growing up and always being around this wildlife, bunnies and things like that. Tell us a little bit more about it and your experiences as a young kid with this wildlife and how you were able to, have all of these animals growing up?
So, growing up, I actually grew up in apartments and townhouses, and I kind of joke around and say it was a little bit of a concrete jungle because it was very populated, the suburbs. And
you
like I
said
said,
that's suburbs of Chicago, right?
yes,
Okay. Where
Palatine,
specifically?
Palatine, Arlington Heights area.
Okay. My
So,
fiance used to live in Palatine. I'm from the southwest side of Chicago. So
okay.
very familiar with the area.
Yes. So, you don't get to go hike around lakes and mountains.
No, it's absolutely a concrete jungle.
Right. So, like I said, I didn't grow up hunting, fishing, hiking, kayaking. Very much grew up with just hanging out in parking lots, to be real honest.
Yeah.
And so, but I read a lot, and I'll tell you a funny story. I read about how you hatched ducks with an incubator when I was in 4th grade. And there was a neighborhood pond. It was probably one of the only ponds local in a long, area. So all the ducks during spring would come to that one pond. We'd have tons of them, and they would all nest in all the bushes. Well, the local boys were being boys, and they thought it was really cool to go ahead and take the duck eggs and smash them. Well, I threw an absolute fit. And so I went around and I collected some of these duck eggs that these boys were taking out of the nests. And at the time I had a waterbed. Everybody in Chicago had a waterbed because it's so cold. And you can turn the heater up on those things. So I had read, you need this temperature and you need to turn them every day and they'll hatch in approximately, a month or so. And I had about 20 eggs. I'm in 4th grade, tucked in the corner of my waterbed. My mom went to go make my bed one day and she found them. And she was super upset. And she was like, "What are you doing? You can't do this. You're not going to hatch them. You're probably going to cook them." Well, lo and behold, about 2 weeks later, they all started hatching. She couldn't believe it. I was super excited because I was like
that movie, Fly Away with Me, with the geese.
Yes.
And she has the incubator in the drawer.
That was me. So, but then we had a real problem because we lived in a townhouse and she was like, "So go down to the pond and take them and let the other mamas raise them too." Okay, well, here I go with my 20 ducks and I walk to the pond and I try to let them go. Well, they wouldn't go with the other moms. They followed me home. So I came home with them and she said, what are you doing? I said, "They came home with me. We had to find a farm down like 3 hours south to take them."
That's the most precious story. That is literally the whole Fly Away movie. My heart. That is that's just such a beautiful story. And the fact that you got them to hatch on your waterbed is amazing.
Yes, I sure did.
It's an incredible story.
Hey, Allison, what's the scariest situation you've ever found yourself in? Curious.
Okay, so the scariest situation, which in hindsight actually turned out to be the most amazing situation, but at the time it was very scary. So one of my old professors and a couple of my friends were on a very small island, Key Cocker, off the mainland of Belize. And we were supposed to be leaving that day. And in the morning we had packed up to leave, got to the little runway. And when I say little runway, I mean a little dirt, path for their little planes to take you back to mainland. And they said, "We're not flying out. There's a hurricane coming. So you're going to have to stay here." So we were just kind of like, okay, well, we looked at the radar and they were predicting a pretty intense hurricane that was literally directed straight at us. So we were stuck on the island and had nowhere to go. We hadn't had any reservations to stay longer. We were supposed to be checking out that day. All of a sudden, it just started storming. We're at this airport. They're telling us to go back. We go back to the condo that we stayed at, and they tell us that they had given our room away, that they had no space for us to stay. So we're just sitting here in the rain with our bags, thinking there's a hurricane coming in 24 hours, and we have nowhere to stay. So some of the locals actually made room for us in a condo. All 4 of us piled in, and we outrode Hurricane Earl with no internet, no way to contact anybody, no way to know what was going on. They shut off the power to the island several hours before the hurricane, so you really didn't know what was going on. And then they boarded up all the windows and said, stay inside. So it was kind of scary because you didn't know what was happening. Water started rushing into our room at about 3 o'clock in the morning. We were standing in about 3 inches of water. We could hear things hitting the buildings and the windows. We just knew we couldn't go outside. The next morning we woke up and the island was completely destroyed. So we were stuck there for 5 days and had to bathe out of an old paint bucket and didn't really have a whole lot of food, had no way to contact anyone because there was no electricity or internet. But those 5 days were actually amazing. The local people of Key Caulker were terrific. They took very good care of us. We got to help clean up the island, and I made some really great friends.
I was going to ask you, were you able to participate in that? And what was that like for you?
Yes. So there's actually an animal shelter on Key Caulker. It's this older gentleman named Kenny, and he takes care of all the stray dogs and cats on the island. Wow. And the night before, we had just been helping Kenny with some of the animals, just hanging out with him, helping him clean up. And so the next day, we were so worried about all the animals because some of them stayed outside. And we went over there. Everything was fine. No one was hurt on the island, but there was a lot of damage. So we cleaned up the animal shelter. We helped clean up the animal shelter the whole next day.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back in just a little bit. Allison has some photos she wants us to look at, and I'm very excited for those. Don't go away. We'll be back with more of the Camping Show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV. Be right back.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutobaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
Back with our guest, Allison Surf, here on The Camping Show. Juan, could you put those photos up for us, and we'll have Allison tell us about each one of those. There we go. There's the snake in the camera. That's a cool.
Yeah. Yes. So that actually was just happenstance. We didn't set that up or anything. I was in here taking photographs of Amy's snakes, and they were just kind of crawling around. Isis, I had her holding her. She crawled in just the right spot. Amy said, "Don't move." And she snapped that photo.
I love that. That's great. You couldn't stage that, could you?
No, it was perfect.
The way she's wrapped around the camera's lens and her arm too is incredible.
Yeah.
It's symmetrical.
What do we got here?
Oh, is that a squirrel monkey?
Yeah, that looks like a monkey.
It is a squirrel monkey. So that is one of my fondest memories I've ever had in my life. Amy and I went to an island, Isla de Micos, and it's an island in Colombia that is preserved for conservation for the wildlife and these monkeys. And we just had a ball. They were awesome.
Oh my goodness.
So that is my most favorite place in the whole world. And that is Lake Washita in Arkansas, which is very close to my house. It's where I do a lot of kayaking, fishing, swimming, and that is sitting on top of a hickory nut mountain. It's a vista that overlooks the lake, and it's just a really great place to go.
Very nice. Very beautiful.
So that is actually part of the wreckage of Hurricane Earl on Key Cocker. And just the night before, I was in those buildings at the surf shops, and the next morning, that's what it looked like.
Wow. Not good.
So this is an older photo, but I love this photo because it reminds me of such great memories. This was a trip that I took when I studied abroad in Panama. And we had taken a small boat down a river to a remote area where the Imbara village is located. And these are the indigenous Indian tribes, the Imbara tribe. And we got to stay with them for a couple of nights. And that's my friend Jamie right there. She was also a student. And it was just really awesome because they had like traditional food for us. We got to stay in their huts and just hang out with their tribe for a couple of nights.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I love this picture. So that is Alejandro, and that was one of my favorite guides on Amy and I's trip. That was on the river. We would actually look for our reptiles at night. So right before it would start to get dark, we would hop on the boats and head down the river towards the jungle. And that was just before sunset, and Alejandro was taking us out to the jungle.
Nocturnal. They're nocturnal, and that's why you would obviously do that then.
Yes, it's easier to find them while they're hunting.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So that is actually, again, another part of Panama, a rural part of Panama. Those were the boats that we took to go see the Imbara people. Those were their traditional, that's their traditional boats of how they actually travel the river. And they're all handmade. They were just really, really amazing people. They took us in and cooked for us, went down to the river, fished, showed us caiman, told us, where to bathe that was safe. I mean, these people were just super, super keen on their environment. They were awesome.
Those actually, pardon me, are those actually hollowed out logs? Is that how they make those?
Yeah. So they do all of that, and they just basically, they're very, very primitive people. They didn't have phones, they didn't have electricity, anything like that. All their tools were very primitive. They were real, true indigenous people of the land, for sure.
That just really puts life in this world into perspective.
It really does. It really does. This is actually one of my favorite pictures because it reminds me of such a great place that we got to visit. This was Islandia. This was a little city off of the river that we stopped at on our way to Santa Teresa, Peru. But this city was extremely cool because it was literally the entire thing was on stilts. Every building, every house. There's approximately 2,000 people that live there. It's not very well traveled by tourists. So, but the whole place was completely on stilts. It was really,
There's no
really
land.
cool.
There's no land, no ground.
No, none. Everything was literally just in the water like that.
Wow.
We joked and we're like, it's a city on the water.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, let's just build a city here in the middle of this water.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
just, oh my God, that's so nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is great because Santa Teresa, Peru is a very remote village in Peru that has one road getting in. You can take the river to get there, but this road is an 18-kilometer road that is basically what you see, mud. And you either walk it or you can take motorbikes.
Wow.
So we had some great people who offered to take us on motorbikes, except for the road was in such poor conditions that half the time the bikes wouldn't go. So here I am, kind of like I got sunburnt, tired, hot, muddy, but it was a great experience. At the time I was struggling. It was very difficult carrying all my bags. It's a long trek. It's hot, but I would do it all over again.
Wow. That's nuts.
And then that's just me in my element. I'm actually at Lake Washta there. And if you don't see a camera around my neck, that you might want to ask me if there's something wrong. So this is great because I wanted to show this. It's a little bit of a gruesome picture, but I think it's important to understand the different cultures and the different things that people do on a daily. So we were in Santa Teresa, and this woman took such great care of us. She kind of had the main kitchen of the village, and everyone would go there to eat. They actually have a little corner, and this is actually very common in Peru, in their kitchen of guinea pigs. And that is a staple for them. So it was just neat to see her actually prepare our food, and it was the whole 9 yards. She was awesome. She was a great cook, awesome lady, very hospitable, very humble, took very good care of us.
Oh,
Wow.
So we took I want to say we were probably on that boat for a good 9 hours, maybe 9-10 hours on the backwaters of the Amazon rivers. And we had hitchhiked with a family to get us as close to Santa Teresa as possible. We went in on a boat, and then to get back home, we walked the road. But this was actually a picture. I was in a hammock and saw a Brazilian boat in front of us. And I just thought it was so cool because we were literally in the middle of nowhere, and this is how they traveled. I mean, we use highways and cars, but they use the rivers and boats. And I just thought it was really neat.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So that is Amy and I's guide, Ronaldo, who took very, very good care of us throughout our trips. We went to 3 different countries, 12 different cities in less than 2 weeks, and he was there the entire time. It just was an awesome, awesome experience. We were again going out, headed for the night to the jungles to look for the reptiles. And I just really liked that picture because, first of all, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Second of all, it has our guide in it, and Amy took it, and it's just a great photo.
Yeah. The view, the background is gorgeous. The sky, the water.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty incredible to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was the last one. Okay. Yeah. I was ready for
we were ready for more. We're like, okay, next one.
I just said Juan. I was just typing Juan. I said, hey, Juan, how many left? And he just got the last. And usually I'm getting the one left or something like that.
In all of that last photo. We're like, oh,
yeah, right. Yeah.
So nice.
Hey, let me ask you this, because this is kind of a weird question. It's a personal question, I guess. But do you find it challenging, while you're out there adventuring, to maintain friendships, personal relationships, and, because you are traveling all the time so much?
It is sometimes a little bit difficult because I am all over the place and I don't really have a set schedule. So I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal. As far as friendships, no, because my friends know me, my family knows me. I try to keep in contact, and they follow my social media so they can kind of know what's going on. personal relationship as far as boyfriend, a little bit more difficult because I'm on the go a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, I
But
kind
who
of
needs a
wonder.
boyfriend when you've got all those animals, that snake? I mean, come
Well,
on.
yeah, I'm pretty busy, so I'm not really lonely.
No, she's not.
I don't know if cuddling with a snake is the same as cuddling with a boyfriend or girlfriend.
It's
I don't know.
not
Well,
the
that
same, but
man or female could be a snake themselves.
Well, there's
So
that. Yeah,
how about that?
I love it. I love it.
there you go.
Wasn't going there, but yeah, since you did.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Allison, who are your biggest influences in your life?
So I have obviously like my celebrity influence would be Steve Irwin. Grew up watching him. He's my man. Love him. He's my hero. Will always have a lot of love for Steve. But in my personal life, it would honestly be my ecology professor, Dr. T. He really took me in under his wing, and he knew that I wasn't so keen on just, I didn't grow up, with everything. He knew my background. I wasn't, the star student at first because, like I said, it was all kind of new to me. But he really, really showed me that it didn't matter. You could start anytime, anywhere, and learn. And so he taught me and worked one-on-one with me quite a bit. So I really, really, really look up to him. And his the main thing he taught me was to pay attention to detail. So I try to continue to do that even when I'm outdoors or anything I do, really. But Dr. T was a big one for me.
Yeah, that's very cool that teachers do that sort of thing and take an interest in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I still talk to him too to this day, and I've been graduated for a while.
That's very awesome. That's cool that you do that. I mean, and I can imagine why obviously why you do it. This person who's been that big of an influence to you.
Yeah.
You definitely want to maintain some sort of a communication. Let me ask you, what advice would you offer those who are, a little apprehensive about going off the beaten path when it comes to exploring the outdoors and all the outdoors has to offer?
Well, I do understand because, when you're not used to something, it can be a little bit scary. It was for me too. I didn't always have this confidence, but I did start out small, and I just started with honestly visiting my local state parks and the well mapped out trails. I got really, really good on all of that. And then I started, okay, let's go try this. Let's go try that. But honestly, I would say just get outside. Even if it's just at a local state park or a trail that is very common. It might not be extreme wilderness, but the more you get out there, the more confident you are. And then you can just, with the internet now, you can find all sorts of cool places to adventure and explore. So honestly, just try it. Just get out there. This would be my recommendation.
The more you do, the more confident you get, right?
Exactly. 100%.
Absolutely. Little by little. And where can folks follow you on social media?
So they can follow me right now at Instagram at Surf Allison, and then TikTok. I do a lot of TikTok videos of nature and all of that at Allison Surf 23. And then I'm on Facebook at Allison Surf. And Zolty's trying to.
Very affectionate.
And I'm also going to be starting a YouTube channel soon, working on some of the videos and editing all of that. Yeah. So hopefully I can get that going here real quick.
That's very cool. Speaking of the 23, we had a conversation about that one day. And you're the first person that I've ever known to. I said, well, Allison, we're going to have to be friends now because you're the first person.
We are friends.
The 23 thing, I think it's just amazing. So, yeah, we are for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to thank you, Allison, for being our guest here on the camping show this evening. It was definitely a pleasure to have you here with us.
Yeah, it was absolutely
Well,
a
thank
treat.
you.
Best of luck in all of your endeavors, all of your travels, safe travels everywhere. And thank you so much. It was absolutely awesome. And we'd also like to thank each of our sponsors for bringing you tonight's show, Campground Views, and of course, Rutabaga Paddle Sports.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode, a new level of recreational vacationing with our special guest, Nicole Casino.
Until then, thanks so much for tuning into the Camping Show.
This is CW Getz.
And I'm Bianca Cahew reminding you, learn more and do more. Good night.
See you next week.